today I want to talk about diaphragmatic breathing. So one of the first questions that I get from a lot of moms is, what's the best exercise I can do during pregnancy? Or how early can I start exercising postpartum? How do I start exercising postpartum? What's the first thing that I do? And what I always say is, start with diaphragmatic breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing is going to be the foundation of every other movement you do. And so I want to take a few minutes to explain what it is, how it works, why it's so important. So inside our abdominal cavity, we have a lot of internal pressure built up. It's called intra-abdominal pressure. And that pressure is necessary for us to be able to stand upright. It helps give us stability and strength through our midsection to help hold us upright, help us perform our daily tasks. However, that pressure needs to be managed appropriately. If the pressure is not able to be managed appropriately, the pressure will push out towards the front, towards this connective tissue, the linea alba, and that can cause diastasis recti, that can cause umbilical hernias when the pressure is pushing outwards. Or the pressure can push downwards into our pelvic floor. That can be a contributor to incontinence, pelvic floor prolapse, that sort of thing. So we want to make sure that all this pressure is being managed appropriately. The mechanism by which our body manages intra-abdominal pressure is breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing is a way of breathing that utilizes your entire core, all of your deep core muscles. It utilizes them in unison with each other as a team, as they are designed to function. A lot of the time we get stuck in this short, shallow chest breathing where we're just kind of breathing in and out through our chest. And this is more of like the flight or fight type of breathing when we're stressed out, when we can't relax, when we're in an emergency situation. But with our modern lives, a lot of us are stuck in this flight or fight mode. A lot of us are stuck, we're stressed out all the time. We're stressed out in traffic, we're stressed out at work, we're stressed out with the kids or whatever. And so we just get stuck in this shallow, short chest breathing. And when you're doing this type of breathing, you're not accessing the diaphragm, you're not accessing the pelvic floor, your deep core muscles. So these muscles kind of turn off and you forget about them, your brain forgets they exist, and this can lead to pelvic floor dysfunction, poor posture, diastasis recti, or not being able to heal your diastasis recti, hernias, all that sort of thing. So we definitely want to learn how to get that breath out of the chest and into the core, into the diaphragm, utilizing our deep core muscles. Now, diaphragmatic breathing is the number one thing that I recommend you start with during postpartum, and this is why. During pregnancy, everybody gets this ab separation. 100% of pregnant women are going to get an ab separation. That's how our bodies are designed to function. Something has to stretch in order to fit a baby in our bellies. So what stretches is this connective tissue. The linea alba stretches and it separates our abdominal walls, the two walls of the rectus abdominis. So after postpartum, for a lot of people that goes back naturally. For a lot of people there's still a gap, and that's what diastasis recti is if it doesn't heal naturally within a couple months of childbirth, then that would be an injury component called diastasis recti. And a key way to help your diastasis, help your ab separation close after childbirth during the postpartum period is to be able to manage all this intra-abdominal pressure so that the pressure is not pushing out against the linea alba, preventing it from healing and closing up. So we want to make sure that we are diaphragmatically breathing as much as we possibly can throughout your day so that you can allow your body to heal and not have that constant pressure pushing out against the linea alba. So what is diaphragmatic breathing? It's simply breath. It's how we are designed to be breathing when we are at rest and when we're not stressed out. It's how we're designed to be breathing throughout the day. It engages your whole core. It engages your diaphragm, your pelvic floor, your transverse abdominis. All of those three muscles work as a team every time you breathe, rising and falling with each breath. So a little bit of anatomy of the deep core so you know what I'm talking about. When I talk about the deep core, I'm talking about this core canister. You can picture your core 3D as a canister, a can of soda. So I made this little model. We have 4 deep core muscles. So the first one is your diaphragm. Your diaphragm attaches to the underside of your ribs. It's a dome shaped, and this is what initiates breathing. So your diaphragm is going to think of it like an umbrella. It opens, it pushes your rib cage apart when you breathe in. It lowers and it opens and it pushes the rib cage apart. And this allows your lungs to fill up with air. So as you inhale, the diaphragm lowers and relaxes and pushes the rib cage open. And you see if you're doing a chest breath, if you're doing your shallow chest breathing, you're not activating, you're not accessing the diaphragm as deeply as you could. All right, and so the next, that's the top of the canister is your diaphragm. The next deep core muscle is the pelvic floor, and that is directly under the diaphragm. Down here it attaches, the pelvic floor attaches to the bottom of your pelvis. It hangs out there like a hammock, like a bowl shaped. So it's kind of like this. And just like your diaphragm goes up and down, or it relaxes and rebounds as you breathe, so does your pelvic floor. So as you inhale and your diaphragm relaxes and pushes down, your pelvic floor also relaxes and pushes down a little bit. And that allows all this intra-abdominal pressure right through here, it all migrates down to allow for your lungs to expand, okay? So as you breathe in, everything shifts downward. As you breathe out, everything rebounds to its neutral position. And as you can see, that just allows all this pressure to go up and down all day as you breathe. If your pelvic floor is not moving, if you're not able to connect with this pelvic floor and only your diaphragm is moving, that's going to increase the abdominal pressure, because see, your diaphragm is pushing down, and so all this pressure is just building up here because your pelvic floor is not moving down at the same time. So if only your diaphragm is moving down, that's going to increase the intra-abdominal pressure. So we want to make sure these are moving in unison with each other. And then the next deep core muscle is the transverse abdominis. This is the deepest layer of our abdominal muscles. Remember, we have 3 layers of abdominals. So we have our rectus abdominis, our 6-pack muscles. Underneath them, we have these internal and external obliques. And then under the obliques, we have this large transverse abdominis muscle. It connects in the back at the spine, and it wraps all the way around you. It's a large sheet of muscle. It wraps all the way around you like a corset. And this muscle is also involved in the breathing process, because as you breathe in, as you inhale, everything relaxes, including this transverse abdominis. So your stomach will come out just a little bit, ever so slightly, as you breathe in. Everything relaxes. As you breathe out, everything rebounds to its neutral position. So with every breath, not only is the diaphragm and pelvic floor moving up and down, but also the transverse abdominis is moving out and in. Just a little bit. It's not forced. You're not pushing the pressure. You're not pushing the breath outwards towards your abdominal walls. It's just a natural ebb and flow. So you're not pushing anything, you're not squeezing anything, you're just allowing it all to work in sync. So diaphragmatic breathing is going to be a 360-degree breath into this core canister. So we're not doing short, shallow breaths into our chest, but we're also not doing deep belly breaths straight into your belly where you inhale and you physically feel that air pushing against your belly. You want to try to expand your entire core canister as you do this diaphragmatic breath. So this initiates with your ribs. Your ribs are going to expand as you breathe in, and then they're going to sink back down as you breathe out. So put your hands on your ribs and just see if you can feel them moving as you breathe. All right, so once you can feel these ribs moving a little bit as you breathe, you can start to think about your diaphragm, engaging your diaphragm. So you can think of your diaphragm as a big umbrella right here under your ribs. So as you inhale, think about opening that umbrella, spreading your ribs apart. And then as you exhale, think about closing the umbrella. So now you're not squeezing your ribs together, you're just letting them rebound back to their natural position. So this isn't like you're not forcing anything, you're just letting the natural expansion and rebound of your ribs. Okay, next we're gonna involve the pelvic floor. Now this can be tricky. This can be tricky to find your pelvic floor, but if you have trouble figuring out where your pelvic floor is or how to engage it or how to feel what it's doing, you can send me a private message and we can meet for a consult. But for now, I'm going to assume that you are able to feel the pelvic floor. So what I want you to do is take your fingers, put them down here at your perineum, in between your anus and your vagina, where there's that little space of skin. And now I just want you to breathe in and see if you can feel that perineum kind of pushing against your fingers a little bit, feeling that pressure, feeling the pelvic floor and the pressure kind of come down into your finger as you inhale, and then it should rebound and rise back up as you exhale, okay? So put your fingers down on the perineum and take a deep breath in. Remember, open the umbrella, send that breath down into the pelvic floor. You can touch your ribs if you need to. Now remember, we're not squeezing the pelvic floor, we're not squeezing the glutes, we're staying relaxed. Remember to keep your shoulders down, keep your shoulders relaxed. And we're just letting this natural ebb and flow, this natural motion, and we're just drawing our attention to it so that we can feel it. So try that a few more times. Okay, so now you've got your ribs going, you've got your diaphragm going, you've got your pelvic floor involved, and now we're going to talk about the transverse abs. So put your hand on your stomach and just send that breath. Remember, open your umbrella as you inhale and send that breath into your hand. So I want you to feel your stomach loosening on the inhale and then rebounding and returning to its normal position on your exhale. And remember, keep the shoulders loose. Keep the tension out of your shoulders. Keep a feel on your ribs. All right. Okay, so now we've got our ribs going, our umbrella opening and shutting. We've got our pelvic floor coming down and up, and then we have our transverse abs going out and in. And now I want you to take your hands, put it on your back. We're gonna send this breath into our back this time. And this is a little harder to feel because it's not up front where we're used to breathing into, but try to send that air into your back. So take a deep breath in, feel your ribs expand. Think about filling up your back with air. You can inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Okay? Okay, so now we've established the ribs are opening and shutting, the diaphragm umbrella is opening and shutting with each breath, our pelvic floor is going down and up with each breath, our transverse abs are going out and in, our back is feeling it a little bit, and so we are managing this intra-abdominal pressure. This pressure is going up and down with each breath, so the pressure is not getting stuck right here and pushing out, creating a diastasis, or pushing down, creating a prolapse. So what we want to do now, we're going to do all of them at the same time, okay? So instead of thinking about breathing into your hand or breathing into your back, you're going to think about breathing into this bra strap right here, okay? You're going to think about filling your core canister up 360 degrees all the way around you with air, okay? Try to make it equal to your pelvic floor, equally out to your transverse abs, equally out to your back. You want this whole area to fill up equally. All right, so we're gonna think about just breathing out. Take this bra strap right here and think about breathing into the bra strap. Try not to clench the glutes, try not to clench the pelvic floor. Keep your shoulders relaxed, okay? So here we go. Breathe in through your nose. Now breathe out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe into that bra strap. Fill up your canister 360 degrees. Breathe out. So breathe in, open that diaphragm umbrella. And now breathe out and let everything rebound to its neutral position. Remember, we're not squeezing, we're not pushing, we're just letting this natural ebb and flow happen. We're just concentrating on it. And as you're probably finding out, this is much more difficult than it seems. So when I tell you the first step to postpartum recovery is diaphragmatic breathing, I'm not blowing you off and just giving you a really lame answer. It's really actually kind of hard to repattern our breath. And so eventually, I want you to go from being a chest breather throughout the day to being a diaphragmatic breather throughout the day, all right? We need to get this full range of motion in these muscles. These are muscles just like any other muscle. These are muscles just like your arms, just like your legs. They need to go through the full range of motion. We wouldn't ever, only raise your arm halfway when you're doing a shoulder press. You would go all the way up because you want that full range of motion. Same thing with your core muscles. Same thing with your transverse abs, your pelvic floor, your diaphragm. A lot of times we get stuck just holding this pelvic floor up, squeezing the pelvic floor, and it never really relaxes. It never gets to lengthen fully. A lot of the times we're not really using our diaphragm when we breathe. It never really gets to relax and lengthen. A lot of the times we're sucking in our stomach to try to make our stomach look smaller or feel more comfortable. And so we get stuck pulling in this transverse abdominals all day. And all of that contributes to increasing this intra-abdominal pressure. This pressure has to go somewhere. It's going to go out through the weakest link, which is your linea alba, right here. When it has too much pressure, it's gonna come up with the diastasis recti, all right? It's gonna stretch out against that connective tissue. It's gonna poke a hole in it and make a hernia. Or it's gonna push down against your pelvic floor and you may have incontinence. You may wet your pants when you jump or cough or sneeze when that pressure increases. Or you may have a pelvic organ prolapse. So it's super important to learn how to manage this intra-abdominal pressure first, and then we'll add exercises on top of that. But you've got to know how to do this diaphragmatic breathing first. If it's difficult to do this in a sitting position, if you feel like you can't sit up straight and you just have to slump if you're sitting on the floor, what you can do is do it lying down. So lie on your side like this, roll over. Remember, if we just lie down like this, or we try to get up like this, we're increasing this pressure right here and it's pointing out towards the linea alba, which we don't want. So if you're pregnant, if you're newly postpartum, if you have diastasis recti, try to get up and off the floor like this as much as you can, okay? And so then you can just do the same thing I just explained in the lying down position. So feel your ribs, feel them go in and out. Think about your diaphragm opening and shutting, your pelvic floor. Put your hand on your perineum. Feel it, push your fingers away as you inhale. And then feel it rebound as you exhale. Same thing with your transverse abs. Same thing with your hands on your back. Breathe into your hand. Everything I just taught you can be done in the lying down position, and that may be the best place for you to start. As you get stronger, You can practice this breath in your daily life. Practice it when you're driving, when you're washing dishes. This is just breath. This is not an active strength training or active exercise. This is just retraining, repatterning your breath. So you can do this all throughout your day as you think about it. And then eventually over time, this will become your default instead of the chest breathing. That is the goal here. So I hope this helps. You have any questions? If you're not able to feel your pelvic floor rising and falling, if you're not able to feel your ribs rising and falling, send me a message. We can set up a consult. I can walk you through this stuff in about an hour. And that 1 hour, that one consult will be very beneficial because then you can add this diaphragmatic breath. You can build upon this in your exercises and in your postpartum recovery. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.